Welcome to Beat the Odds for NFL Championship Round Weekend. I'm Pat Mayo, joined by John Hyslop and Matt O'Leary to break down the best bets for all of these games. But the big news, and the reason probably a lot of you are here, besides the fantastic picks that we've been giving out, because those have been fire through 2 rounds of the playoffs thus far, but we have a new giveaway this week. At the end of the show, you will find out who has won the Josh Allen autograph helmet from a week ago. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it was. It was the Josh Allen autograph helmet. I have the winner, and I will be doing that at the end of the show. But this week's giveaway, and here's how you get into it. You smash that like button for the episode. You subscribe to Odds Checker US on YouTube. And in the comment section, give me your best bet for this NFL Championship Round weekend. And this one kind of ties in perfectly with the games at hand. It is a framed Joe Burrow autograph jersey. It's a pretty good prize, Matt.
Yeah, I'm all in. I wish I could win that. That would look pretty nice behind me instead of my garbage Jet stuff. So I wish I could win it.
I mean, what is this now? I guess, would you, John, would you think that, we'll take Matt out of the Jets conversation for a second, because we were discussing this a little bit before we came on the show. This Bengals run, how does it end? Is it, because I get like early 2000s Patriots vibes from it, where I don't know how they're doing it, but maybe Burrow is like Joe or Tom Brady-esque, and then all of a sudden it's good to go. Are they the Andrew Luck Colts that got waxed by the Patriots after making it to their first big AFC Championship game? Or are they kind of like the Sanchez Jets from the early, I guess, teens, the 2010s, where they're just going to get here, they're going to put up a fight, but no one really actually thinks they're any good?
The realm of possibilities for this team is just enormous. I mean, I could see them beating the Chiefs seriously by 2 touchdowns. I could also see them getting shut out. Like any of that stuff. Like nothing would surprise you. You're like, who are they? You know what I mean? Like they're a second-year guy. Is the quarterback. He tore his ACL last year, so he didn't even play his full rookie year. He's got a rookie receiver that he throws to all the time. Another second-year receiver. I mean, like their defense is good but not great. I mean, there's so many things about them that tell you no, but at the same time, if you watch them play, you're kind of like, yeah. So I don't know. I'm thinking for a bet, CJ Uzomah. Am I saying his name right?
Secret of the Uzma?
Him too. I like it. Over 36.5 receiving yards, minus 110. The Chiefs gave up 900 receiving yards to tight ends this season, so they can get got there. He didn't get it last time they played, but he was pretty close, and Jamar Chase had like 2 70-yard touchdown receptions. So, I mean, that's it's like stealing from his own teammate, basically. I think the Bengals do fall from behind. I don't think they're able to sit on the ball. He's been targeted like, I think 14 times in the last 2 weeks. So 37 receiving yards isn't a big number for a guy getting targeted that much.
Matt, the spread right now is -7 Chiefs. 54.5 is the over-under. I'm taking that from DraftKings Sportsbook. You can shop that around and maybe find yourself a 7 and a hook if you like that. But I think if you like the Bengals in this game, just wait until Sunday, because I can't imagine a bunch of Bengals money coming in when the public gets their greedy mitts on this game. It's going to be, let's click on the Chiefs because that's what I know. So you're probably going to end up with like a 8.5 or 9 on the Bengals by Sunday.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm even on the Bengals at 7 now. That was going to be my play. I think they keep it close. They're working on 6 straight covers. This year, as a road underdog, they're 5-1 against the spread. A few weeks ago, Joe Burrow, in the last time we saw him in the regular season, was hanging 404 touchdowns on this Chiefs defense. I think we get another close kind of back and forth game here. Now, I'm not going to go nuts here and say the Bengals on the money line or anything like that, but I think they do keep it close. But kind of like John said, man, like they can go out and win by 14 points, 2 touchdowns, or they could, get their doors blown off. I'm kind of hoping though that they keep it close when we get some exciting football like we did last week.
Well, John, you hit a miracle same-game parlay last week involving the Chiefs, man. Correct?
It was, I didn't want to bring it up, but now that you did, yeah, that happened.
What was the payout? Like,
it was the 4 quarterbacks all going over 325 passing yards. So that would have never happened had the last 2 minutes of the Bills Chiefs happened. Like, I didn't even think that was even like gonna even come close to winning, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. Like, we all saw it. Like, just passing touchdown after passing touchdown. That was amazing.
What do you think we can do in building a same game parlay for this particular game? Because I don't actually really like either of the sides. I think 7.5 is really where it should be. And I'm not going to start throwing my money down on a side that I don't have a lot of conviction in. Even the over under at 54.5. Like, yeah, that sounds about right.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
Like, so props are really where I'm going to go with this game. Like the one that I had identified early on, and this is really predicated on the Chiefs not jumping out to a gigantic lead here. I like the Joe Mixon anytime touchdown at -125 because that's what the Bengals do when they get inside the red zone, specifically the 5-yard line. Is they turn around, they hand the ball off to Joe Mixon twice. He gets his 2 shots, and then they throw it on 3rd down, or maybe they go for it on 4th down. But he's going to get his opportunities unless Jamar Chase is scoring 70-yard touchdowns every single time and taking those opportunities away. I find that hard to believe unless Tyrann Mathieu is out and Daniel Sorensen's in the secondary, which then, I mean, just bet like Jamar Chase over 500 yards receiving because that's probably going to happen.
No, I mean, I don't mind that at all. I would say his go on DraftKings, take his highest rushing total under just because the Chiefs haven't been that bad against the run and the game script could get away from Mixon, but I'm not even sure what that number. It would have to be pretty high. Like I'm not saying go under 50. I mean, like if it was like 90 something, maybe we could go under that and then add something else that kind of correlated, maybe a Burrow passing yards prop or something like that.
Well, if we went to Joe Mixon, Matt, over under rushing yards, like what do you think would, I mean, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving us 5 separate options, obviously with different vig on each of them, but you could go like under 79.5 rushing yards. That seems pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the number where I'm at. Anything lower than that, I think you're starting to get a little bit risky. I don't see him having a monster day. I think with the amount of times that they're going to throw the ball, I'd be hard pressed to see him get over 80 yards. And well, also like this is kind of good for our play. He's useful out of the backfield as a pass catcher too. So I think he's going to get some receptions in there. So I really don't see him getting in the 80 plus range. I think maybe 60, 70 yards, maybe at most.
And the way that I think I would go with that is like, so far I'm building up this same game parlay. It has a Joe Mixon touchdown on it for me, and it has the under 79.5 rushing yards from Joe Mixon on it as well. I think in this scenario, like Joe Mixon goes over this number if the Bengals win the game. I'm pretty sure because that's just one of their paths to victory. So I'm going to throw KC money line on that as well. We're up to plus 220 right now. And like, you got to think like, from the Chiefs side of the ball, where do we think that we want to go with? Because in games that the Chiefs win, they generally complete a lot of deep passes. And the one player on the Chiefs who has the highest reception rate on deep passes, that's 30 yards or more downfield so far this season, is Byron Pringle. And his over-under is 31.5. But we can get that down a little bit more. Like if you have longest reception in this game or anything, I like the Pringle over in terms of over-under receiving yards.
What's his number? Like, what's the lowest you can go on that?
The lowest the lowest you can go on Byron Pringle. Let's see, alternative receiving yards on Byron Pringle right now. 25 is the lowest we can go. So we can go over 25, over 35, over 45.
25 is not bad. I mean, they've been going to him kind of. I mean, he got targeted 7 times against the Steelers last week. What did he get? He had targeted another 7 times last week, so that's not that crazy at all.
So we can go Pringle over 25.
What about his receptions?
I couldn't find the alternate on reception.
Okay.
Because I believe it was set at 3.5, and I don't like either side.
Yeah, no, I don't want that. I'm thinking 2.5. And then
I'm more bullish on the yardage just because I think you can come all in one play with him. And even with you, with CJ Uzomah, we can go over 20 receiving yards. We put all those together, those 5 plays, the 2 Mixons, the Kansas City money line, Pringle, and Uzomah, and you have plus 450 on your same game parlay. I don't hate that.
No, that's not bad at all. And none of those things are even like crazy. You know what I mean? There's not even one leg that you're thinking like, the whole thing hinges on this. Like they all feel pretty good.
And we've teased them down to like, we're not taking what the actual over under is. Like if Pringle's at 31.5, we have him at over 25. With Uzomah, like I think he's at, what'd you say, 29.5, 31.5, somewhere around there.
He was 36.5.
36.5. So we have over 20 on this. So we've really decreased.
We could even go higher on him.
I mean, we could go over 30. We can go over 30 instead of over 20, and now we're at 6-1.
Beautiful.
Yeah, now it's a party. You know.
So what do you think, Matt? Do you think we put this one in on DraftKings Sportsbook?
I say we all chip in and do it.
All right.
I think we should do it.
There we go. All right. Well, maybe we need to find another one on the next game. So I was telling you guys before the show, we got Niners at Rams. Rams favored by 3.5 points. You can find a 3 with extreme vig if you really want to take it on the Rams. I'd still go with the. I like the other side of this game anyway. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get there on the Niners money line because I was telling you guys I have these futures on the 49ers for both the NFC and the Super Bowl. So I probably don't need to bet the money line in this game, but I really like the 3.5. It just seems like either the 49ers lose by 50 points or this is field goal at worst type game. Doesn't it feel like that, Matt?
I'm one of those on the other side. I think the Rams get their redemption. They lost to them twice in the regular season. Second time went to overtime, a game they probably should have won. But it's so hard in the NFL to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. And I know I already am bracing myself for the comeback. I know that the 49ers are 6-0 in their last 6 games against the Rams here.
I think it's 7, but yeah.
That's also, I mean, I'm actually on your side with this, Matt. Like, what does that really tell us when CJ Beathard was playing quarterback and Jared Goff? Like, that has no relation. Like, the 2 games this year, I think, do mean something. Those other games don't.
Yeah, no, agree. But to me, I just think it's the 49ers, they were playing above their head. I almost feel like here they had that nice win against the Cowboys. Then they have that unbelievable win against the Packers. I just don't, in my heart of hearts, think that they're going to be able to keep up offensively with the Rams here. And I think that this is where they finally look like the Rams do. They finally look like the team that everyone thought they were going to be earlier in the year when they made all these big splash signings and they get the job done at home. But I think this is where the 49ers run comes to an end, unfortunately.
See, I like the 3.5 on the 49ers side, and I think we're getting a decent buying opportunity here, John, only because what we saw from Jimmy G and the Packer and the 49ers offense a week ago was not very good at all. It's been a pile on Jimmy week, how terrible Jimmy Garoppolo is, and he's realistically just somewhere in between. He's not great. He's not bad. He's good. He's slightly better than average, and that's all this team really needs. Just don't turn the ball over too much, and we're good to go in this regard. So he's being undervalued on that part and getting a big win for the Rams, especially in the first half. You talked about the team that they looked like, Matt, like what people expected them to look like. They looked like that in the first half against the Bucs, but then, John, they didn't all of a sudden. And I do think that the 49ers offensive line and defensive line is just far superior to what the Bucs brought. And if they can win this game in the trenches, and I think that they do, then it's a real problem for Stafford and the Rams offense.
The thing is, the Bucs had you ever heard of Tom Brady?
No.
They had him, so it was kind of different, you know. So,
but is it though? I mean,
part of the reason why they came back.
But Brady with an injured center, missing his left tackle, it actually allowed the Rams defensive line to get into the backfield. Like, Trent Williams is expected to play in this game, like, and the 49ers have the best O-line in the league.
He's still Tom Brady, and that's the issue. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't like the Rams when they get ahead. Like, so that's their problem. I mean, they did that against the 49ers. They did that last week, and here we are in the fourth quarter. It was a game again, and you're like, they were blowing them out. So the same thing happened again against the 49ers. I think Shanahan knows how to play McVay. I mean, they just ran on him last time. It was 17-3 at halftime. They came back and just ran the ball in the third quarter, got back in the game, and next thing you know, they won. I don't trust either one of these teams. I'm scared of this game totally. So I'm just going to pivot to a player prop. Tyler Higbee, over 39.5 receiving yards on FanDuel. He's got this in the last 6 games. He's been targeted 40 times in those 6 games. So, I mean, he's being utilized. It kind of protects against if the 49ers were to jump out to a lead, now you're okay because game script's going with you. But if the Rams get out to a lead, he only needed 40 yards. Maybe he was a part of it, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to stay there. But, man, this is a tough one. I mean, this game is not – there's no way you can actually have a real strong opinion about either side, in my opinion.
Oh, see, I completely disagree. 49ers with that hook is the way to play this game, as they have the superior pass rushing defense, which is insane to think, considering you have Aaron Donald on one side of the ball, and he is not a part of the better pass rushing unit here. And the offensive line, I think with the injuries that the Rams have versus what the 49ers have, the big problem last week with the Bucs is they couldn't generate any pressure. Stafford had all the time in the world, which means you didn't get the fatal flaw mistake from Matthew Stafford. He was able to look deep downfield. And I mean, if they can provide protection for Stafford, the Niners are in tons of trouble because they have no back end to their secondary. But every time that they've won these games, it's by generating a ton of pressure, making sure that those deep balls are not available because there's absolutely no time. And then Stafford's going to throw some glory balls up there that maybe the 49ers can get to at the same time too. So I really like the 49ers in this spot. The one thing about the Higbee stuff though is I think you need to look at it from a, do you think the Rams are going to win or the Rams are going to lose perspective? Because when teams beat the 49ers, they average 8% fewer air yards per throw than they do when the 49ers end up winning these games. So if you think that the Rams beat them, that means the ADOT is going to be a little bit lower, and that would make sense with the pressure that's coming at them. And then you have Tyler Higbee, who runs by far the lowest ADOT routes of any receiver on the Rams. That's where he does all of his damage. He has a 75% catch rate on balls thrown less than 15 yards. But if they get into a situation where they have to chase and press, Higbee's not usually involved in that. So that would be my one hesitation on the Tyler Higbee prop.
The thing is, I mean, last game they were up 17-3 at the half again, so they played from ahead. He went 55 yards. You know, I mean, it's one of those where it's a low enough number that he can get there. Does that make sense? It's not really like, hey, I think Higbee's going to dominate today. He could get 41 yards and cover this, and that's not a good day. That's 6 catches, 41 yards. He really did nothing. But
I mean that's a pretty good day for Tyler Higbee.
Go back to his game, y'all. Go back to his game logs. That's a floor at this point right now. That's literally what he's been doing the last few weeks.
And I mean, what's the average on Tyler Higbee over this run? Honestly,
I'll get it right now. It's not Tyler Higbee like. Put it that way. Like whenever you look at him.
So it's Tyler Higbee from the
No. That was like dominant Higbee. I'd say this is more like just random guy. So 4 for 51 last week, 3 for 46. 6 for 55, 6 for 69, 5 for 41, 5 for 48. I mean, those are, to me, and he's getting targeted. Like, again, it's not like, all right, well, we got this 120-yard catch. Like, he's getting targeted. Like, just break free on one of those for like a not so Tyler Higbee-like play. And then, just get a couple of 8 yards and be home.
So it does seem to correlate. I think that you'd want to play these together. If you go with the Higbee over, I think you take the Van Jefferson under, because the turnaround for Tyler Higbee so far this year completely correlates with Van Jefferson going away in this offense and Beckham becoming the wide receiver 2 and essentially Higbee becoming the wide receiver 3 over Van Jefferson, because before that it was Van Jefferson who was getting all these numbers. Higbee did basically nothing when he went on his run where he went over 50 yards like once in 10 games. Then it flips over. So I think that's probably like that's an add-on to it if you wanted to play it that way.
Jefferson's hurt. Like there's something like really wrong with him. Like we'll probably hear about it after the season's over, like what was wrong with him. But like he's not practicing. He didn't even do a walkthrough yesterday. So I mean, I don't know. Like he didn't look like the field stretcher that they were trying to use him as before last week. So again, man, like I said, I'm just gonna go back to the tight end, see what happens, and then hopefully get a win.
All right. Well, Matt, do you have any sides on this game that you like or any props?
I do. To steal our buddy John's YOLO phrase, there is one YOLO prop that I'm interested in.
I can't wait.
Might sprinkle. So 49ers defense anytime touchdown. Okay. Because you mentioned it with Stafford throwing, kind of could get in those spots where he makes those mistakes. I think he has 6 pick sixes on the year this year. It's a preposterous number. So it is a little bit in the YOLO range, but it's not the craziest thing. I mean, we saw the special teams score a touchdown last week. If they're going to be in this game, I think they're going to need either a defensive play or another big special teams play to keep it tight.
It's Championship Sunday, so
could we go just take what seems to be the lowest hanging fruit of the week? Jimmy G over 0.5 picks, Matt Stafford over 0.5 picks, and be on our way.
That's the what would that SGP pay? That wouldn't be bad, right? Because they got to be negative numbers.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yes,
they're both heavily vigged that way to begin with. So the same game parlay for let's go to passing props and chuck in Oh boy, where are we at? Interceptions thrown. Matt Stafford
minus 250.
We can go one plus on Matt Stafford, and Jimmy G interceptions thrown. We can go 1+. That gets us to, load this for me here. I'll take the Niners off of that. That is plus 205. So you get 2-1 on your money.
That feels right. I mean, that feels like stealing.
Yeah, the issue is going to be when Jimmy G doesn't throw any picks and he fumbles 3 times or something.
Yeah, that's true. But if you watched that game the other night, like he had a few of them, you were just like, whoa, like how is that not only picked, but like housed at the same time? I mean, it was so bad, but they just, I don't know. Like there was one where one of the D-backs for the Packers was literally going for the tackle and not even looking at the ball. And you're thinking, man, if he just had eyes, he'd be dancing right now in the end zone. But I don't know. I can't imagine that guy not throwing a pick in such a big game. Garoppolo. And it's the effort too. 2-1. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's not a bad way to kind of play this game. Do you have any other bets from this game, Matt, that you think you would be, I mean, besides a YOLO one, maybe a prop you really want to hammer down on?
No, that's kind of just where I'm at. I like where you guys were going. More so with John on the Higbee play. He kind of sold me on that one. I don't know. I feel like he's going to sit in that 40 to 50 range. So I agree there. But other than that, I think the Rams get the job done at home. I really do.
Well, my bank account really hopes that's not going to be the case, that the Niners end up knocking them off and somehow the Bengals can advance to the Super Bowl. And then I have an opportunity to hedge out, win one bet and have a hedge bet at plus money because the Niners would be favored against the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl if it does come down to that. So we may have spoiled it already because John has given us some props so far, but we need to hammer down on one for championship weekend. We'll find out what that is in Slop's prop.
All right, so I like Burrow a lot. I wanted to take him 300 at plus 118, but what you could do if you wanted to live a little, it is the first game of the day. 325 is plus 198. Also 400 plus is plus 880. So if you want to go that route, you're more than welcome. He already did it against the Chiefs once. The Chiefs defense is not that bad against the run. So take that for what it's worth. A lot of the times where Burrow has these low passing totals, Mixon has this, big game. They're able to run the ball, so they don't really necessarily have to do that. This time, again, the Chiefs are not the 85 Bears. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, they're not, just some team you can just run all over. So with the running back, the quarterback, Josh Allen maybe, but Burrow's not Allen. Game script could go with us as well. So, again, just 300 plus yards does not feel like a lot.
Would there be a way you'd want to correlate some of this stuff together? If you were all in on Burrow going over that total, where let's see here, we can get him at, let's say you say 325, we'll go 324.5 on a same game parlay. Would you then feel more comfortable throwing Chase and Higgins onto that as their overs as well? Because someone needs to have these receiving yards if he's going to get them.
What got me to Burrow is the fact that I don't want to take one of the receivers because there's 3 of them that could, 2 main ones, obviously Higgins and Chase, but there's that off chance that Tyler Boyd catches 1, maybe 2, something like that. And then again, Uzoma, he went for 70 yards last week. I mean, I don't necessarily think he's going to do that again, but at the same time, that's in the realm of possibilities. So after thinking about that, plus Mixon out of the backfield, you really got to watch yourself on which receiver you take for what. You know what I mean? I think maybe you lowball some of these receivers, like the Higgins and Chase. You couldn't really go 100 on Chase, 100 plus. You'd have to go in the 60s. And then maybe do the same thing on Higgins. Does that make any sense?
It does. No, I get where you're going because the distribution can just be really weird for them. And you could lowball yourself, maybe even just make it a really small one. You could go Burrow over 324.5 passing yards and then take Uzama over 19.5 receiving yards. That pays plus 250, so 2.5 to 1.
Yeah, something like that would be what I would do. I mean, again, you could take your pick on the receiver. I mean, if you got good enough odds, you could do 2 separate ones. One with Higgins, one with Chase. But just after what Chase did last time, you gotta wonder if he's gonna be able to do that again against the Chiefs. Like they gotta have something for that. Even though what they did against Gabriel Davis last week doesn't inspire a lot of confidence that they could stop Chase if they wanted to, because that was crazy. But like I said, it's just you don't know which guy's going to get it. They're all good.
Well, if the Chiefs take a similar game plan as they did last week, then T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd is going to go completely insane, because all the Chiefs did on defense last week is they essentially double covered with help Stefan Diggs the entire game. They had a man-on-man with him at the line. They had safety help over the top, and they had the linebacker on Diggs' side shade over on every single drop back just to make sure that the ball wasn't going Diggs' way. Like when you triple team a guy, he's not going to get the ball. And then there's someone running down the middle completely wide open.
Yeah, that's the only downside of that, is that another guy could go for 204 touchdowns on you.
Now, if
but at least you stop Diggs.
What's that, sorry?
At least they stopped Diggs.
Yeah, well, it really worked out. He finally got the 2-pointer towards the end. I mean, they should have lost the game. It was a good strategy by the Bills, just being like, hey, we don't need to throw to Diggs. 3 guys are taking care of him. Someone needs to be open. Someone else has to be open on the field somewhere. And they were basically double covering Dawson Knox the entire time, too. It was really strange how that defense ended up working out. It worked for the longest time until it didn't. If you wanted to take your strategy, like you could do Burrow with the massive yardage and all of the like underinflated overs to that, or you can do just the pick one receiver. You could do Burrow over 324.5, Chase over 114.5, and that's 4-1. And like you said, you can play that with Higgins as well at his top end in terms of yardage, and you would probably get 4-1 as well.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the way that I would do it. I mean, I would say even at FanDuel, the 400 plus at plus 880. I mean, I'm not saying to put a full unit on it, but I mean, you might want to dip in that well. Why not? You know, I mean, I just think they're going to have to throw, especially if they get behind again. And they can do it, though. That's the thing. And I don't really think the Arrowhead crowd necessarily matters as much as it normally does. I mean, it does matter, but Joe Burrow just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that, I don't know, like he just doesn't seem to get nervous. Like, kid's nasty.
Well, we gave you some options. We gave you Slop's prop. We should probably bring Matt back in to do the giveaway of the Josh Allen autographed helmet. If you want to get in the draw for this week, you subscribe to Odds Checker US on YouTube, smash the like button for the episode, and give us your best bet for championship weekend down in the comment section for a framed autographed Joe Burrow jersey, which you are more than likely, I mean, I wouldn't say more than likely, but you have a chance to win if you go do that. That's about as easy as it gets. Just put it down there, follow the steps. You have a chance to win. Just like last week's winner, Matt, Brett Reiserson.
Nice.
Not from Germany, I don't think, but certainly sounds like it. All you need to do is tweet at OddsCheckerUS to claim your prize. You got 72 hours to do so. So congratulations, Brett. I mean, Matt, you lost again. It's tough stuff for you.
Look behind me. I'm used to it. I'm all about the losses here.
I mean, your background, I mean, I don't know what's sadder, having jet skier in the background or like having the losing team of the Super Bowl merchandise that they send off to faraway places. I don't know which one's which.
Equal? I don't know. It's pretty rough.
It could get better, though. I mean, it's hard to get worse.
True.
So there is that. You know what I mean? Like something to be positive.
Have a lot of Jets fans in my life, Matt, and let me tell you, it can always get worse. That's what they say every year. Then it's even worse.
Feels that way.
You could be the Giants, so there's that.
Positive spins. I'm here for it, man.
Yep.
All right. Matt O'Leary, John Hyslop. We'll be back next week, I believe, with, I guess, Pro Bowl stuff. We'll see. And then we'll have what's that?
The Pro Bowl. Always a big week.
Hey, tight ends. Over on tight ends in the Pro Bowl is how you want to play the Pro Bowl, because they're the guys who are on the field the entire time, because they have very few backups when it comes down to it. So they're just you just got to try to find the guys that are going to be out there. Use that for props and daily fantasy. Use tight ends at the Pro Bowl. Maybe we'll be breaking all that down. If not, we'll be talking Super Bowl with everyone out there. Once again, smash the like, best bet in the comment section, and sub to Odds Checker US. For John, for Matt, I'm Pat Mayo. We'll see you next time.